Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to the Plant Spot. Today we're going to look at a Norfolk Pine, commonly referred to as the living Christmas tree. If you like this type of content, stick around. All right, guys, as I mentioned in the intro, today we're going to talk about the Norfolk Pine. These little pine trees are typically found during the holiday season, and they're lovingly referred to as the living Christmas tree. This particular one I bought about 3 years ago. It was one year where we decided not to buy a Christmas tree because we usually put up a live one. And I saw this cute little thing sitting at, I think it was Home Depot. It had like three little balls on it. And in actuality, it was four, no, there's five, there was five little plantlets in here. As you can see, only the strong survived. Anyway, these plants are they're considered tropical, and they're found in the South Pacific. And when we say tropical, we immediately start to think that they need extra humidity, but that's not so. They're easily adaptable to the ambient humidities in your home. If you're comfortable, it's comfortable. The one thing I will say is that it doesn't like to be near drafts. So this plant prefers to be in an east, west, or even a south window where it's getting bright and direct light, but it doesn't like the full sun. In full sun, the leaves tend to scorch and burn. Another thing that I've noticed about this specimen is that they like to stay, I hate using the word moist, but they don't like to dry out. So for me, the best approach is to check and make sure, well, I stick my finger in here and I see if I could feel a little bit of moisture. If I put my finger in and no dirt comes back, then I know it's time to water it. If when I touch it, it feels moist to the touch, I typically leave it alone. Now, I've had this plant for about 3 years and I've never repotted it. What I did see when I bought it was that the root system was not very strong. And I think that may have led to the demise of the other little plantlets that were in here. I think out of the ones that were in the pot, this was the strongest one. So this is the one that is still surviving. Most people buy these plants to place in their home during the holiday season, and typically they end up as compost because we don't really know how to care for them. And that's a shame because it's a little plant that can actually thrive within the home. It takes some getting used to. Growing pines indoor is, different. I've read that these plants can actually be a little hardy outside as long as the temperature is above 35, but I don't know that I would chance that. This one lives in the kitchen in a west-facing window where the light is direct, specifically in the winter when the trees aren't full in the yard, but it's sheltered by some other plants that are taller than it, so it's still getting that filtered light. I do fertilize this plant with every watering. Now, when I say that, when I see that it's still growing, like for instance, if I tip it forward, you'll see that she's putting out that new little leaf. So as long as I see that she's still trying to grow, I fertilize her. In the winter, I cut back on the fertilization because she doesn't tend to put out as many of these little vinelets, right? So there's no sense in fertilizing her during that time because she's not using those added nutrients. The one thing that I did look up online was the soil recommendation. Now, granted, I have not repotted this pot. Of course we didn't repot the pot. I didn't repot the plant. It's been in this pot since I bought it. And I feel like it's time to repot it, especially since I want to take out these dead stalks, which aren't going to reproduce anything. But I wasn't sure what to put her in. When I look at the soil that she's currently in, it looks like it's peat-based, maybe with a little bit of sand. And I read that you could use any common household potting mix, but that you should amend it with a little bit of sand to make it a little bit more loamy. These plants require a specific pH balance. And to be quite honest with you, I've never tested my soil to see whether the pH balance is within the zone recommended for the plant. I have not ventured down that path of doing that. So I'm just going to, when I do decide to repot her, which will be before the growing season is over, I'm just going to go ahead and remove these and put her in a mix that has some sand in it so that I'm following the guidelines that I saw online. Let me refer back to my notes to see if I missed anything that I wanted to tell you on this one. If my phone will cooperate. Let's see. We talked about moisture. We talked about humidity. We talked about lighting. Browning. So if you happen to notice that it's starting to go brown, or that, you know, the tips are falling off, or the, you know, it's, and I've had that with this one. So like this particular blind limb right here, I can feel it a little crispy, and I can see the crispiness on the tips of this one. Most of the time what that indicates is that we are not watering it consistently. So I think that's just, we just need to make sure that we're watering it on a timetable. And you guys know that I am not one of those that likes to keep a calendar or water a plant on a schedule. But for this particular plant, I think it's wise to have some type of mental schedule so that you're watering it at least every 10 days at the very minimum. So other than that, I think that's all I wanted to show you or tell you about the Norfolk Pine. It's a cute little plant. If you happen to see it around the holiday season, go ahead and get yourself one and try to keep it for a long time. All right, guys. So that's all I had to tell you. I hope you enjoyed this type of content. If you did, don't forget, like, subscribe, and comment. Talk to you real soon. Bye.